Okay, I'd like to call to order the August 21st meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee of the City of Monona. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Holmquist?
Here.
Alder Wood?
Here.
Mayor O'Connor?
Here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our August 7th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections or additions? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. There are no appearances. Item 5 is unfinished business. Item A, consideration of Resolution 17-8-2202, approval of bid for 2017 Bridge Road Park improvements. This was tabled on August 17th.
Move to lift it from the table.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
No. That's quick.
We'll hold.
You don't
Oh,
wanna hear it.
that's true. You're right. Okay.
You're getting out that easy.
Why not?
That's true.
Since this item was tabled at the last meeting, the Park and Recreation Board met that following day and did have a unanimous recommendation to transfer money over from the existing Ahuska Park tennis court project to cover the overages for the improvements at Bridge Road Park.
Does anyone have any? So they did they wonder about cutting back on anything, or they just?
I think the consensus was that they were very supportive of the project in totality and the elements that it includes. Pedestrian paths linking up one street to another, having a water fountain and rest stop area for bikers, and kind of a cross-generational mix of elements. And so those three kind of major topics, you take out some of those and you lose some of the appeal of the overall project. So while ideally, we're within that budget, I think, with the design that was agreed upon and at least looked at, I think there was a lot of positive elements that could impact a wide variety of people.
Doug?
So yeah, I like this project. I do have a question about the Ahuska Park tennis court reconstruction, basically.
Yeah.
So that'll be down to 23,000 in the budget, and I know you'd said it's going to be delayed, and it'll be about, you think, 150,000?
150, yeah. We have 200,000 proposed in the 2018 capital budget for Ahuska Park. That's going to be finalizing a complete master plan, bid documents, and then the reconstruction of 5 of the 8 tennis courts. So instead of doing, what we were looking at originally next year was tennis courts and additional parking at Ahuska. As we started with the design phase of the parking lot, we had more questions about how future trails could intersect with this additional parking, so where playground might go. We have 3 or 4 different parking designs, but as we get into that alleviates one issue of overcrowding at Ahuska, but it doesn't necessarily address the other issues that we have in the park with where we want to go with extended trails. It also gives us a little bit more time to explore some of the recommendations from the university project, which may include a boardwalk into the marsh area, or trying to leak up some other parts of the park. So I think it pushes Ahuska back a little bit. The most immediate need as far as safety and maintenance are the tennis courts. We deal with the parking issue now, and it's not like we're adding new programs at Ahuska, so we can still deal with the parking issues, for a couple more years while we finalize exactly how the rest of the improvements are going to go. So that was looking at a phased-in option. I think now the direction is just to go with plan it and do all the improvements in 1 year. So tentatively scheduled for 2020 would be construction of the rest of the improvements at Ahuska.
And the tennis courts would be
2018 next year, correct.
Eventually, are you going to have to do all the rest of the tennis courts?
No, the 5 that were built in 2006 are perfect. I mean, there's not a crack on them. They're very well, it'll need to be recolored
Right.
with the 5, but as far as doing anything else with them, From there on, generally it's recommended like every 3 to 5 years is when you do your crack filling and coloring of courts. But we've done it, the last time we did it was 2012, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there.
Any further questions? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item 5B, consideration of Resolution 17-8-2203, amending the 2017 capital budget for Bridge Road Park improvements. This was also tabled on August 7th. Is there a motion to take this off the table?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move approval.
Second.
Jake,
I have nothing
anything
more
else
to
to say?
add after. No, sorry.
Basically, we have to approve moving the money,
The
right?
budget amendment, yes.
Is there any discussion?
So the fund that will be left there just won't be utilized for any project this year, is the intention then?
I can't foresee anything now. I won't say that completely, because depending on how the capital budget goes, there may be some additional design money that we might want to use for a project that's slated for next year.
Okay.
Although Mark will say,
Yes.
the way Mark's like, wait a second, it's spoken for.
Well, technically, since the project is not happening, we're kind of putting it on hold. One option, what we would do is use the 23,000 and hold it there for next year to reduce the borrowing for next year. Or if there's another project that's outside of this project, the parks or other department, we could take it from this, say like a library or another thing that's over too, or some other project that Jake will probably be over on, so. But technically, it should be used for next year's, reduce next year's borrowing. That'd be the
Anything
plan.
else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is item 6A, convene in closed session under Wisconsin statute section 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is dealing with the Wisconsin Professional Police Association 2016-2018 contract negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
I think, is this a roll call
Every
vote?
call- Yep, we need a roll call. Alder Wood,
Aye.
Alder Holmquist,
Aye.
Session under Wisconsin statute section 19.852. Item C. We don't have to vote on anything, do we, Joan, to reconvene? Okay. Item C, consideration of resolution 17-8-2207, award of bid for redevelopment area 9 building demolition project.
This
Ms.
item's
Reichertz.
for award of the bid for the demolition project for the riverfront. We received 5 bids for the demolition of 5 structures and the other work listed in the resolution, like asbestos abatement. The low bidder was Robinson Brothers in the amount of $998,435, and the engineer's estimated cost was $1.3 to $1.6 million.
Move approval.
Second.
I'm sorry, I should have done that.
I did have a question if you don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. I did see, I think it was in the Herald actually, that Plan Commission has approved some, I believe approved the permits for Chase to go into the old Radio Shack building.
Yes.
Is that significant or any news about Chase then? that you can-
The plan for Chase Bank has been to relocate from 802 West Broadway, their current location, into the former Radio Shack, and we've never had any concerns with that from the city side. The Plan Commission just finished all of their approvals for the exterior site work, and Chase will be remodeling the entire interior and exterior of the building, and now it's just due up to Chase's timeline as far as how quickly they'll move to get that work done.
So it's just, still, the timing still remains
Yep.
an issue. Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
So I see in the letter from Strand, there was a comment about evaluating Robinson Brothers. It's not a company they've done work with.
Mm-hmm.
And did we take the recommendation that was laid out in the letter, and did we talk with any other cities on their experience working with them?
I haven't checked with any other cities. That's typical language in Strand's letters, and we have worked with Robinson Brothers before.
Okay.
They're the ones that demolished the Ruby's building, and Robinson met all the pre-qualifications submitted for the bid.
Okay.
And they did Garden Circle.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Oh, okay. Well, the price is certainly right.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Let me see. Item D, consideration of resolution 17-8-2208, award of bid for Bridge Road Park Playground equipment. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move approval.
Second.
Oh. Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, so we had 2 bids on the playground equipment. The specs from the design were pretty tight on the elements of the playground that we'd like. The low bidder of Boland Recreation was the recommendation from Park Board that met the spec and the elements that were included in the proposal. And the price of $66,421 is for the mega deck structure, the zip line, some spring riders, the concrete ping pong table, and installation.
Is there any questions?
Just one. What, do you know what the other bid amounts were?
The other one was, I believe it was about $15,000 more total for the same type of structures.
And have you worked with Miracle Recreation before?
No, this is the first time. Miracle is a national playground brand, and the sales rep is quite heavy in Iowa and has moved over to Wisconsin over the last couple of years. They've done similar projects in other municipalities that I checked in with and had good experience, and I'm confident they'll do just fine.
I'm not seeing it on here quickly, Jake. I'm sure it's in here. What we were anticipating for the playground structures and installation, were we expecting this rate, or were we expecting a higher or lower rate?
Depends on what time of the, when it was budget. No, we were looking at like 50 to around 50 for everything. So 66 is a little bit higher than what we were anticipating. But I think we're at, for what we're getting after we came up with the original quote or the design, I think it's a pretty good value to be able to get. The main playground structure itself is kind of a mega deck structure, so it's going to be higher up than any of our other playgrounds. So it'll be like a 12-foot slide, which most of ours are around 8 foot high. So will be a first. Having a zip line will be a first for us, which are typically fairly expensive. And then a concrete ping pong table will also be a first. First in Dane County, by the way. Yeah.
And how does that ping pong table, how is that going to work? Like if it's windy, or do you use regular ping pong balls?
Yeah. So you play the wind.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next, item E, consideration of resolution 17-8-2204, approving updates to the City of Monona Emergency Operations Plan. And who's going to speak about this? Is that you?
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
Yes. We have the new code book on its way here for approval, and.
I'm sorry, I should have had a motion first.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Does someone want to make a motion?
Move approval. This is updates to emergency operations plan. Correct.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, I'm sorry, April, go ahead.
That's so fine. We have the new code book coming, so these next 2 items are related to that book being adopted. This item updates the emergency management plan to match the new code book. It reflects the personnel changes that we've had since December of 2014. It removes names and uses titles instead where it's possible so that we can keep it better updated. For example, Dane County Emergency Management Director, not necessarily providing a name of the person. And it uses the phrase emergency management instead of emergency government to be consistent throughout, and that is a change in the new code. I do have a typo on page 14 that should say emergency management. And finally, it updates attachment A to say emergency management director rather than city administrator, because the ordinance does have a process to appoint an emergency management director. It's not necessarily the city administrator. So this clarifies that that's a separate title. So the plan then would match what the ordinance says. And we did dig into that like a long time ago when we were going through the book. This committee did do that.
Brian?
And I'm not sure which language is the language that is the NIMS language and the consistent with Wisconsin emergency management systems.
I did ask Bill about that too, because I said we are talking about the same thing, correct? Let's see, let me find what his response was on that. Oh, he says this. Bill said that the statutes only require us to designate a head of emergency management services whose duties are set forth in the statutes. As long as we have a person who has the required duties, we can call the position anything we want, as well as create subordinate positions. So.
And I bring that up when we talked about this. Larry Reed, who's on our public safety committee and who is very familiar with this topic, not only kind of gave a fresh look at what our plan was, but also provided some tabletop experiences at that time. And I'm just wondering if we're adjusting language that is language that is used for cross-governmental agencies in the instance when there is an emergency, so we're not confusing.
I can certainly double and triple check on that and bring it back.
And he might just be a good point of read on that. No pun intended. But he shared a lot of good
Right.
examples
Yep.
with us at the public safety level, and using the example of the tornado that went through Stoughton a few years back, and how they, at a local level, were needing to interact with other governmental agencies, and if the language wasn't consistent, there was confusion that could take place.
Has public safety looked at this?
I believe that, boy,
No.
I'm trying to think if I think you looked at the emergency management chapter, didn't you? If there were changes to that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was so long ago that we actually worked on this, but I can't recall for sure. The part about the emergency management director, that's actually in chapter 18, which went, I believe, to this committee, if you recall correctly.
Now, this is actually calling it emergency government director, right?
This would be emergency management director.
Who's the emergency, I mean, what I'm seeing in my copy is emergency government director.
Yeah, it should say emergency management. That was just a typo. It says emergency management in the new code book that is coming.
Okay, so that needs to be changed in all the references to that.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
all
okay.
right.
Yeah, this one is not urgent to adopt, so I just wanted to get that out in front of you because I know there's a lot of stuff coming for this new code book.
Does
Yeah.
this need to be adopted, though, before we adopt the code?
The new code book won't be adopted at the earliest until September 18th, so we have a couple more kicks at it.
I just wondering about having public safety look at it, or if it'd be better to just ask Larry Reed to look at it, or Brian, whatever you think.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the one that will have the best. If we brought it to public safety, he'd be the one leading the discussion, for
I
sure.
can check with him for,
So-
and check again with Bill if you wish.
I had one other channel in terms of media. I wonder if we want to include WVMO and
Oh,
the cable channel, probably.
is that not
Since-
in there?
No,
We can certainly do
it's
that.
just the 3 television stations, actually, and it seems like it should be some radio stations besides
Yeah.
WVMO.
Yeah, definitely. We can do that.
Isn't that the reason we got the radio station?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
That's part of their mission.
Yeah, right.
We'll put that in there.
But definitely some other radio stations as well.
Yep.
Okay, that's everything I have. Doug, did you have anything?
Just one, almost hesitate to bring this up.
Oh, no.
In the event that the mayor is not here, then I assume that the acting mayor should be in the list of people to call.
That's probably a good point.
Could you add that?
So I know that's one of the pieces that
Yeah.
Larry brought up is to have these roles be interchangeable, that
Mm-hmm.
people that fill those slots know what their duties are in a very simplified way that they can pick up the beginning of a chapter and be able to say, this is my checklist that I actually need to do. So if the mayor is out and someone else is stepping in,
Right.
that they know where to start. So,
Okay, well, that's,
Probably should. I don't know if when the last time was that we did training on this. I know years ago that was something they would do, and they would include, the mayor, and I think council president would be involved in it, so that in case they, like Brian said, if they had to do something, they wouldn't start having to read what they had to do during an emergency.
that's probably a good point.
Yeah, we have had a fair amount of council turnover. We should look at training again.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've been on there a while. I don't know if you've had some of the NIMS training.
We have never had any.
Oh, you've never had any? Well,
In
good,
terms of emergency,
good news is I've had several. So
Yeah, I know.
Some good news.
at least Brian and I haven't, so it's been at least 5 years.
not in this capacity, but in different capacities.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll throw that into the mix
good
too, is to look at
Okay.
training, because I'm not sure how good Dane County has been about scheduling that. I took a lot through Greene County, so
Okay.
being in two counties before.
So is this, given these suggested changes, is this something we should look at again, table, or should we be voting on it?
I would encourage us to table it.
You
Okay.
sure can.
Is that a motion?
A motion to table?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is tabled. Item F, consideration of resolution number 17-8-2205, creating a policy, notice, and procedure regarding the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Move approval.
Second.
April?
Okay, along the same line, this will have to be adopted with the new code book. It basically, with the new draft of the book, through the process, we decided it would be more prudent to have it as a policy rather than as part of the ordinance. So the new ordinance book actually pulls that out. So this is a policy that addresses the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it provides for more timely updates as required by laws and statutes. And I think it's a little clearer to read if somebody is wishing to file a grievance or looking for instructions. I think it's written in a format that is a little more accessible for people. And the procedure notice and request form have all been approved by our city attorney. So it will have to be adopted again with the new book.
Okay.
I just wanted to get that out in front of you.
Okay. Any questions, Doug?
So does this policy, the grievance procedure part of it, cover employees of the city, or is that covered under the city's personnel policy?
So this covers discrimination and provision of city services, activities, programs, or benefits, and I believe that employee grievances is handled under the employee personnel manual.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more for the public,
Right.
I would
Okay.
say.
Anything else?
Mhm.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Final item is the monthly financial report. Do we have a motion for this?
No.
No? Okay.
We also have accounts payable. After the
All right, accounts payable, you're right.
All
But
right.
right now, we're on 6G, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do the monthly financials.
Okay.
So here's the monthly financials through July 31st. I'm just going to hit on some things. If you got some questions, let me know. I think your page is page 62. I'm just going to hit on, there's two major things to be concerned, I guess, in the budget. Revenue-wise, right now, we're starting to see a pattern. And one we've been talking about already is the permits on page 62. You know, we're projected to probably have a loss of 38 to 40,000 there. Just this last year, we dropped the budget down because of we dropped the 2017 budget down even from last year. It's just not as much resident activity as it been in the past, and not a lot of large projects that we've had in the past. It could change a little bit if we do get the riverfront started. There could be some permits pulled in that would help. This does not include that right now. So we are projected have about a $38,000 loss there. If you go to page,
Before you leave that, Mark, is that, I know we've seen that projected loss in the last, well, all of them, I guess, this year. Is that getting worse or?
the loss.
Same? Yeah.
It's been pretty steady. I think it's gotten, to me, it's gotten worse because this is the busy time of year where you think the permits should be more money coming in. So they're not coming in as much as it has in the past this time of year. So the loss has been increasing because of that. Page 63, the next page, there is something to offset it right now. Interest income will be probably over budget by the end, about 40,000. So should net out to the permit loss, but it is 40,000 I have to use to cover up to make up for the projected loss in the building permits. Last year we did get a higher rate with Monona State Bank. They gave us 0.25 basis points higher than what the market was. So we are doing fairly well in that. And we do have some large balances in the Monona State Bank account. So that's why there increases in the interest income. And again, that should be adjusted. Will be adjusted in the 2018 budget. We'll increase that. There'll be an increase. I know we've gone through a lot of this. If you got some questions, the other one thing I really want to hit is page 77. No, not 77. Sorry, page 78. The rec department. Right now, the rec program fees and adult sports program fees. The numbers are low this year, and that's probably projected to be under budget by approximately 25,000 by year end. So that's one number. You know, maybe it'll pick up here later in the summer. I know I've been working with Jake on this one. There is, lower numbers and some other issues, but some things we'll be looking at in the 2018 budget. But is the other probably concern it is as far as the budgets are going this year. Otherwise, pretty much everybody else has been status quo, or some are up or down, but in total, everything's been looking okay. I just want to hit on one other thing with the communities and their rec program budget. Page 79, the expenses. There's a thing called active net fees. You notice that? Right now we're at $9,100. Basically, all that is credit card fees. So we're accepting the fees and we're paying the fees. So it's something to maybe look at for the future, how we want to do that. If that's the way we want to keep on eating those fees, or how we want to do that. So, that's going to be, we're halfway through, so I'm sure it's going to be, 14, 15, maybe 14,000 by year end. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Mark, with those fees, are those fees that are, and Jake might be able to speak to it,
Jake.
are they recouped in the sense of, are they a user that pays that, and this is just the expense line, but
Yeah, so the active net fees that are under the rec budget are for all of our software transactions. So for park shelter rentals, pool passes, daily admissions, anything that we use our software system for. We just house the expense for that program under that system. So we do build in essentially the cost of people using a credit card in house or over the phone. We absorb the transaction fee. If they register online for a program, they're charged an additional percentage as a convenience fee for utilizing the online system. And so it's a balance. We have a proposal for an alternate software system, so we are evaluating that at a staff level right now. I don't think there's going to be major savings in whatever system that we use. Communities that we've talked to that have added additional fees on for credit cards have said it's a mixed bag. Generally, I don't want to say bad customer service, but they tend to get more customer complaints about having an additional percentage tacked on for credit card, that it's easier just to charge a little bit more, have it absorbed across everyone that utilizes it. But most, we run for, on the rec program side, about 65-70% register online, so they're using the card. They're getting charged the convenience fee. Where the expenditures are rising is at the pool. So last year was the first year we took credit cards at the pool. Certainly more convenient for people to be able to use their credit card to pay for daily admission and or concessions. And so as we've seen concession revenue increase, we've also seen those credit card transactions increase. Pool passes, community center rentals are the big ones. The $200-$300 line items are where we, that might be like a $10 hit transaction on us.
But if they're done online,
correct.
The customer pays
correct,
the
but
fee. If they do it over the phone or come in, they don't pay the fee.
They don't, correct.
So I kind of would tend to agree. I mean, I've said for several years I'd like to see us not charge the extra fee, because typically if you go to most businesses, you don't pay an added fee, because when you're online, like how else are you going to pay it if you don't use a credit card?
You still have to pay the fee, though. I mean, somebody pays the fee.
Right. I'd rather have it absorbed in the cost of the program. If we've got fairly sizable, if it's 65-35 or whatever the percentage breakdown is, there's a sizable group who's not paying it, and a sizable, even larger group that is paying it. But it would be more equitable, I think, to just increase the charge, increase the cost of the programs,
right,
and then everybody's paying the same amount.
It's a tough balance on certain things. That the price point at what we offer something is very restrictive in this area. So when we're talking about for adult fitness programs, for example, yoga, Zumba, whatever, there's 15 places that you can take the same similar class within a 3-mile radius. So when we're talking about price points, we take a lot of those things into consideration. Youth programs are one. I think one avenue we could look at potentially is, either season pass, the larger dollar items when we're talking about like a season pool pass for $115 or $200. If we charge that processing fee on, because if you do it online for like a pool pass, it's $10. It's expensive. As we investigate this alternative software system, their pricing strategy is a little bit different, but I'm not comfortable in being able to relay what it's going to mean to us at this point until I get some more questions answered. There's pros and cons to switching software systems just based on price, so we need to make sure that whatever we're getting now we're still going to have, and then it would have an ease of customer use experience as well. So it'll be, if we are going to do it, it'll be proposed in the operating budget, potentially an amendment to the capital budget based on initial training costs and et cetera. But yeah, we could potentially allocate out those expenditures under multiple budgets if we want. But I think the ease of using credit cards, even though there's a transactional increase, we may not, it's almost like you're going to spend $20 at the concession stand if you have a credit card, or you spend zero because you have no cash on you. So there's some of that too.
Yeah. Okay, well, good, you're looking into it.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
Yeah,
about
one
the
other thing-
financial report?
Just want to hit, when we're talking about his budget though, patch sales are way up this year. I just wanted to mention that. We're up 60,000, we budgeted 47,000. It seemed like that was a big number even compared to last year. So the daily admissions probably be down a little bit in the end, just because more people are buying the patches, not doing, so it's a little bit easier that way. So that's a good, 60,000 to 40, so we're 13,000 over budget already on that number. So that is a big number.
That's great. Okay, any other questions about,
I had just
Doug?
one on page 69 on the paid on call and paid on premises. I guess really more just to kind of note what Mark has indicated, that they're 29,000, about just under 30 actual, and so they would have 70,000 remaining, which
yeah,
is good news in a way, but I think,
it's not solving our problem.
I asked
Right.
Scott to do a report on that next meeting. So.
I was thinking it's about time for that. And also, some of that came from reserve, right?
no,
35,000.
no,
35.
but we're not using the reserve.
Right, we won't be,
because
but I
of
mean,
this.
it's not like save,
Right.
well, I guess it's saved money in a way.
So we used 35,000 was budgeted
Yeah.
to use if it was
Right.
But
needed.
that's not even counting, I mean, we're 70,000
Yeah,
under budget,
Yeah, we'll get to that.
setting aside the 35, so
okay,
it's good news, except it kind of indicates maybe the programs aren't going the
yeah,
way you'd hope, but anyway, yeah.
okay. All right, well, then we should move on to item 7, acceptance of general fund accounts, payable checks dated August 4th to 17th, 2017. Is there a motion to,
Second.
okay. Mark?
Yeah, I know we don't have a lot of time here, so I'm just going to hit on just a couple things. Some of the bigger capital items. Page 2, Baycom is our capital item for police squad computers. Or I guess that's page 100, I'm sorry. Page 101, demand, precision parts, the swimming pool safety net. That is up. That was part of our approved capital. Page 6, or page 104, Madison Met Sewage District. There's a second quarter. It is. We were at 25%, so this will make us a little over 50% per quarter. So this will be a little bit over 50%. The second and the third quarter usually are higher quarters, and then it goes down for the fourth quarter. So hopefully it should be okay in the end. Yeah, it's good. Page 106, just so you know, here's 1 month of Strand, a lot of the work they've been working on for us. Just kind of the capital projects they've been working on. Page 11 to actually Burleson, or page 109, sorry. This is 2 months Bill Cole's time. As you can see, most of it's redevelopment, which would be Riverfront. Page 118, 119, again, is our credit cards, the monthly credit card statements. That's all I kind of have, unless you have questions.
I had one question. I know that we're cutting down part of the building inspectors is going to be spending more time in McFarland.
Yes, so
Assuming his salary will be adjusted.
his salary would be adjusted, yes.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
All in favor of paying the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.